Good afternoon, everyone. Today we'll be going through purchase invoices, are you still manually inputting, and an introduction to Continia Document Capture. I'm Alex. I'm support team leader at Technology Management, but I have previously worked as a consultant, and during that role I also implemented Continia Document Capture across several of our clients. So we'll hop in. I take it you can all hear me and everything is clear. And like Liam mentioned, if you have any technical difficulties, just put them in the chat and someone will get back to you. So what we'll cover in this afternoon's session, introduction, I've just briefly gone through who I am and what I do at Technology Management. We'll cover what is document capture, what are the benefits of using document capture. We'll have a demonstration and then we can do some questions and answers at the end of the session. So what is Continia Document Capture? Well, Continia Document Capture is uses OCR technology, so optical character recognition technology, to scan your documents or invoices automatically. So it will go through your purchase invoice document, your PDF document, and you'll predefine what fields you want it to pick up and map. And then as it scans that document, it will automatically populate those fields in Business Central, and from which you create a purchase invoice. It's instant from email to post in Business Central. So what I mean by that is you set a predefined email in Business Central, which looks up to a server, and that server looks to the email address that you've defined. And every 10 seconds, this email box is read by Continia. So then the invoice is picked up, it's moved into Business Central, where you can import it in, or you can choose to automate that import process. It's just a button in Business Central, which I'll show in a bit. And then a couple of clicks, register the invoice, and then send the invoice for approval or post it. And as I go through the demo, you should be able to see just how quick that process can be, from going from inputting manually your users keying in their invoices to just simply a couple of clicks of the mouse, and then you've got your invoice created straight away, ready for posting. Continia are a third-party company that we use for technology management, but what makes it slightly different is that we implement and support Continia Document Capture. So this means when you go through a project with us or decide to get Continia Document Capture through us, we haven't got to get anyone external to come in and do the training or do any setup for you. Ourselves, technology management, we have the skills and capabilities in-house to do that, and not only implement it, but it's the support of that going forward. So once you're live with it, and then any other issues or problems or questions that you get going forward, we on the help desk have the skills in-house to be able to support that going forward. So that is a brief overview of what Continia Document Capture is. I'll go on to what the benefits are now, and then we'll go into the demo. So what are the benefits? Well, the OCR software has the ability to remember your invoice layouts. So once the invoice comes in, you will map it, and I'll show you how to do that in the demo. And the next time that invoice comes in, it remembers and recognizes everything that you did previously, and it will automatically fill that in. So there is a bit of setup to do first time round with pinpointing the exact fields that you'd like on your invoice layout. But the idea is when you get it as close to perfect as possible, and what we call register, so as close to register as possible. So the next time it comes in, all your user has to do is a few clicks or a few checks, and then the invoice is straight in there. Up until recently, the new version, which was released in April this year, Continia Document Capture version 6, the only file format which was supported was PDF, so invoices via PDF. However, now they've developed their software, so now it accepts XML format of invoices, and that will be included in their demo in a few weeks' time. The greater depth to your approval process. You may already be using an approval process within Business Central already, using the NAV standard workflows that you have out of the box, or some of the own workflows that you've created for an approval process. The greater depth is you get a few extra bits of functionality with Continia to help with the process of approving documents. You can forward them on to people, or there's a force approve, so you can have a super user perhaps skip through the entire approval process to get the document to release. There's also a few different screens that Continia have developed themselves, which are have approval comments on, so a little comment that people can put in, and it's displayed on the invoice itself. You'll see these things as I go through the demo. They'll look slightly different to perhaps the standard Business Central or NAV pages that you're used to. Visibility of the invoices. So it's not only once your invoice is attached, the invoice document is attached to the invoice card in Business Central, you get a few back boxes that should display the PDF. Not only that, is the PDF is passed through to posted invoices, so you never lose that visibility. You can always go back to your historical transactions that are done through the document capture, and the invoice is a couple of clicks away to view the actual PDF document that it was a part of. And finally, they have created themselves a dedicated web portal and mobile app. So the dedicated web portal is completely separate from your Business Central or Navision web client. It's something they've created themselves and can be set up. And the idea of this, as well as the mobile app, is these are for your users that perhaps don't even need to log into Business Central or Navision. They have a role throughout the company that perhaps doesn't involve logging in and processing orders as such, but they are part of the approval process. I'm thinking maybe at director level or something like that as an example, where all they simply need to do is just have somewhere where they can go in, view the document, just press the approve button or reject, send a comment to the user, and go from there without having to actually log into a system. They can just click on save the web portal as a shortcut in your internet browser, or have the app on their phone. They can just quickly tap on it, see what invoices they've got to approve for today, and then go from there. So this is a role center that is out of the box for Continia Document Capture. It's one that they've created themselves. You can see here you've got the categories, which are split down into your invoices and credits, and it does do sales orders. You've got an extra box for approval entries by approver. So in here, you can see the buildup of approvers and some tiles across the top here. So what the process is, as I mentioned, what happens is you'll set a dedicated email address. That email address will be read every 10 seconds, and the files will get pushed into Business Central on your home screen here, and you have a column for documents for import. And this basically means these are the amount of invoice documents that have been sent and are ready to be moved into Business Central for me to review and map. So in here, you just press import files. And the import files is a code unit itself. So this can be automated as well. You can put it on the job queue. As you see, it just runs through. So you can put that on the job queue to run as well throughout the day, every minute or every 2 or 3 minutes. And it will automatically push those files into what we call the document journal. And as you see, it's moved them to the documents to register. So if I open up this, it takes us into the document journal. if I just zoom out here. So you can see here, it's moved all my invoices that I've been emailed with their PDF or XML attachments, and it's moved them into the document journal. And within here, this is where you map your fields and get them as close to the register process as possible. Then you register the document and it creates the purchase invoice card. So this is a brand new invoice that's come in from Lewis Home Furniture. It hasn't got a template yet. So if we click on process and recognize fields, you can see it's gone through and it's automatically detected these pre-specified fields that have been set up on a template. This is just out of the box. You can add in extra fields, which I'll come on to in a bit, if you have some nuances around your invoices that you need some extra fields. So what it does is the value, the field is highlighted in orange, and the value of that field is highlighted in blue. So this has gone all the way through and recognize the fields. So in the bottom section here is comments, which is also error messages. So any error messages in bold, a warning just is just a warning. You can still register without needing to address that. So in this one, it's saying that you need a GL account number. So this is the first of 3 ways that you can recognize a document, and I'll go through all 3 throughout the demo. So this is just a simple one-line invoice that I've been sent with a total amount at the bottom. So in here, you just specify the GL account that you want to post that amount to. Tab off. And I'll be presented with the box that comes up and it says, do you want to configure GL account 8330 as the default account? And this means that every time Lewis Home Furniture send an invoice in, do I always want it to post to the GL account 8330? If I press yes, that means it will be remembered for the next time. So if I click on the next one down here and do the same process again, recognize fields, you'll see that the GL account is already pre-populated. So again, this is getting you closer to the process of being able to register the document and create the posted purchase invoice. You're not stuck to having 8330 as the GL account. You can press no on that message and the user has to determine what GL account it is each time. Or if it is predefined, but it's a one-off and they need to change it, then you can simply overtype the GL account and go from there. So if I do the same for the third one as well. And then once you've got them, it's a bit hard to see in the web client, but in the full client, the OK tick box should be set. And then this means that you can register it and create the purchase invoice ready for posting or sending for approval. So if I register this first one, you'll see that the page is a bit slightly different to your standard purchase invoice one for the Microsoft have out the box. This is a Continia design page, so you still get full view of the document on the right hand side, so you can view the PDF. You'll also notice we've got some extra fields for approval comments, which I'll come on to later, and attachments to the and the one attached file is the invoice. So I will just send this for approval once it catches up. You have to bear with me. The Continia are a Denmark company, and when you request the demo portal, it's in the cloud, but it's hosted by themselves as well. So sometimes it does just take a little second to catch up with yourself. So I'll just register these. So the next ones we'll move on to is actually XML type invoices. You can see the file structure is slightly different on the right hand side compared to the normal PDF. This one in particular is a credit memo. So if I again do the recognize fields, you don't have to do recognize fields every single time, I should mention. It's only when you haven't got a template created. When you import the document the next time, it remembers what template you used, and you can have multiple templates per vendor if they send you different invoice or credit note layouts. So you can switch between the two. So this fills in the XML file path all down here, and again with the values of where it's got the XML information from. Once it's set as OK, you can process and register again. And again, same with the PDF document, you get a picture of the invoice on the right hand side. So now we'll move on to the invoices. So again, recognize the field on that. Again, similar, it's pulled through all the information. And then we just register that. So as you can see, as I'm going through this, once you've got all your fields mapped and it picks up all the fields correctly, you can see how quick it is at just a few clicks and then you're onto your invoice. And all the information is pre-filled out, and all the user needs to then come along and do is either post it if you don't have an approval process, or if you have an approval process, then they just send for approval request, and then they're simply done, and then they can move on to the next one. So on this one, we've got amounts do not match. And this is because there's some extra fields on the invoice with some extra values, such as the cleaning cost here, which is at £300, and a discount, which is at 200. So how do you get around this when you can see that it's picked up the total amount of the invoice and the VAT amount and the amount excluding VAT absolutely fine from this section here, but it hasn't got those extra amounts accounted for. So as I was mentioning earlier, you can add what we call template fields. You can add these. So these are two examples out of the box for discount and cleaning. But I've worked on other clients where they perhaps had an invoice that's come in that has different amounts of VAT paid against it. So it has a total amount, but then they do a certain amount of that invoice at 10% VAT and a certain amount at no VAT at all. And so by adding extra template fields for amounts, you can split these out over the invoice. So if I add the two of these, the discount and clean. if I do the recognize fields again, it's now picked up from the word the discount and the cleaning amounts. Register that. Sometimes it just needs to refresh the page. So come out with document journal, go back in. Oh. Right. So we've got the discount and cleaning note. So it then says you must specify translate to type. So on this invoice, we need to specify what GL accounts the £200 discount and the £300 cleaning cost are going to go to. So to do this, you go to translate accounts for amounts at the top in the ribbon. You translate to GL. And I'll use the demo account out of the box, which will be the same, but you will probably and most likely have specific GL accounts for set for discounts and cleaning in this example. So if you put those in, go back. That should remember those. Now the document is registered, and you'll see, as well as it having the 2 item lines, which it gets from here, and the item lines will be picked up on based off description and customer cross-reference number, and using the vendor item catalog in the standard Microsoft Business Central. But you can also see it's added the 2 extra lines as GL account lines. And this is for the cleaning cost and the discount, as you can see. So those are a couple of ways of registering the document. A second way is inevitably, if you use inventory and items, you'll have an invoice that comes in that matches against a receipt, and you'll want to match that invoice to the receipt and then post the invoice. So for this example, I recognize the fields again, but this time, instead of doing it all from this front card with the amounts and the GL account, this time we go into the document card. Oh no, process, and then match line, sorry. And then in this section here, you'll see you still get full visibility of the invoice on the right-hand side. On the left-hand side, you can see it's split into order lines and purchase receipt lines. Typically, as a company, you'll be matching to the purchase receipt because you probably would have received the items before you're invoicing them. But you can match to purchase orders if they're yet to be receipted, but you do have the invoice. So on here, if we do process and perform match, and then that will go off automatically based off quantities and amounts. And you can see it was highlighted all these lines in bold, matching up based off amounts and the quantity and line amounts, so value. So I register that document. Go back in. Register that document. When the invoice comes up, you'll see that rather than have all the item lines specified down straight away, it's got the receipt number. So similar to in Business Central and Nav, if you use it now, the get receipt line process, where you do more options, line, and then functions, get receipt lines. Continia has automatically done that process in the background and done a functions get receipt line and pulled through all the items here that were on the relevant receipt. So the third and final way to recognize an invoice is you can map the lines yourself. So if I recognize field. So in this example, you can see that the invoice number has just been picked up from the date, because in this specific document layout for this vendor, they have captioned a field called date invoiced. Continia will try its best to pick out the specific details, but it's not perfect. So there are some, this is where the first time setup of templates comes in, and getting your templates right so that going forward it's quick and efficient. So you can see from here, it just needs to pick up what would be the invoice and then the invoice number. Now to manually override that, if we do a right click around invoice, and then you can see that it's highlighted it in orange, which means that's the invoice number field. And then if we do the value, which is a left click, and it just drops the value in there. And then this means the next time that the document comes in, it will remember it's looking for the word invoice first, and then that whatever is next to that word invoice will be the value of the document, or the invoice number, I should say. Next stage is you can see that there's some items on this list, or there could be GL account lines or multiple GL account lines. So in order to map these, if we go to document and then the document card, you get both a header and a line section on the left hand side. We've done the header on the previous screen, so now we do the line section. And this is done simply by you click in each line value and then right click it. So number will be item, description is text. So you can see that although the invoice might not have the exact text that matches the Business Central column captions, you can match it up easily enough. Pick it up, quantity. Unit cost is the price, and line amount is the amount. Now if I do a process and recognize fields, it'll process through all the lines, and you can see it's highlighted them all in blue. But not only has it done that, it's dropped them all in on the line section. Simply what's left to do is specify what it translates to in your Business Central. So you may not have an item that's called iPad or the number iPad. It may be a specific number in Business Central. Again, the same with, you can do to a GL account. You see you get all the options as you would do on a purchase invoice, GL account item, resource, fixed asset, and charge item. So if I do a GL account in that one, hopefully, and then that. Too many zeros. The beauty of this is that then it remembers the next time that this invoice comes in that the iPad relates to item 1000, mouse relates to the GL account 8330, and headset relates to the item 70,000. So you can see also here as well, it's only put Apple Bluetooth, but you can also extend that out so it picks up the whole description. You'll see that you need to do a few little tweaks to the document in order for it to be picked up. But once you've done that first time round, the next time the invoices come in, it will be a case of recognize fields, pick up all the template information, and then you should only be a few clicks away on anything that you may need to just change for whatever purpose, and then register the document. So if I register that one. And send the approval request. So come out of that. So in Continia, you get a purchase invoice list screen, and you can see this is laid out a little bit differently to the standard one. You get your document attachment on the right hand side and approval comments, which I'll come on to in a bit as well. And you'll see these are all status pending approval, and we'll come back to those shortly. So I've gone through the main points of recognizing a document and how you map those fields. Now it's the approval of the documents and the specific web and mobile web portal. So if I open up the web approval portal first, so once you log into the web approval portal, you have all your documents for approval listed here with the amounts. You'll have to ignore the dates because they're in reverse order, but in US format rather than the UK, but that's the server I'm on. From here, you can view the original document, so the original PDF document, download it if you want to download a copy of it, or you can, there you go, just load it up, or you can simply click on to the document, and this will open it up in similar to how you would in your Business Central client or your NAV client. It opens up the invoice card where you can, your user can, whoever's approving it, can go through, select the project code if they're using dimensions. Perhaps you're using dimensions, but at the time of going through the creating of the invoice, the user might not know what dimension it goes against, but that's the reason why you're sending it on for approval, not only for the amounts, but they may also need to assign specific dimensions to, so you can put those in. You get a view of the PDF document on the right hand side, so you can quickly just see what the invoice is and what it looked like. You can type a comment in here if for whatever reason, something that comes in handy when you perhaps need to reject. You could say rejected due to amounts. Save that. That's put against that document, but then users can see that in Business Central in that approval comments fact box that I showed you just. So they'll show in there. You can also add extra attachments in here. You can drag and drop onto it, or you can use the paperclip. So, for example, File Explorer, that, desktop, and just drag and drop PDF in, get hold of it. So if there's not only the invoice PDF that needs to go onto it, and it doesn't just have to be PDFs, that can be any document format that you need to drag and drop, some extra instructions or something that's come with the document, or something that's perhaps been emailed later from the vendor that you just need to attach to the document. You can use that, and it's also available in the Business Central client as well for you to be able to attach from in there. Once that's done, you've got the approve, reject, forward and put on hold. So approve and reject, they're straightforward. Forward allows you to pass it on to another person. You can approve it yourself, but the person you pass it to needs to approve it as well. Forward without approval, as it says, you cannot approve, but you know who should approve it. So perhaps it's mistakenly come to you for whatever reason, or it's something that you don't deal with and you need someone else to have a look at, so you can forward it to someone who then approves that document. You can forward the document and then ask for it to be returned to you. So this is you can get someone to just double check the document and say, is this all right or whatever, and then once they've accepted that, it comes back to yourself as still a pending approval, and then you approve the document. And again, throughout this, you select the user's name, which is a lookup to the user list in Business Central, and you can add comments throughout. So if I approve some of these, put on hold is similar. You can set a reason code, awaiting external information, hold back payment, and add a comment again if you want. And then that just puts, you have to put a comment mandatory, dispute the vendor. That puts that on hold. Go back, see all these, we'll just approve a couple more. So that's the web portal side of things. They also have an app, which is a mobile web app for web approvals, which looks very similar to the web client version. I'll minimize that. So, yep, as you can see, this is it in a mobile format, in a mobile browser. You've got the document split out on hold and for approval by clicking one. These are probably not the best examples. They haven't updated the approval portal to display the XML documents, so it will only show the PDF ones as images. Here you would get an image of the invoice. I believe in the next updates that are coming out, being able to view XMLs will be part of the web approval portal and web mobile app, but you would get a document to view there if it was a PDF one. You can view the lines and any comments that anyone's added, or any attachments along the side here. And then again, similar, you can't do any attaching along here, but you can do the approve, reject, forward, and put on hold. Approve, that will reduce your list. And then on the main menu, you've got all your sign out and approvals. Archive will show you, you can search for what vendors you've done, and then it will show you anything that's been approved previously. You can go back through and view those if needed. So on to the next few little bits. Go to the purchase invoice list again. You'll see the ones that are released are now shown in green, which can be posted. You've got on hold here, so it will tell you who's got the on hold based off the purchaser code or salesperson purchaser code. And then you can see on the right hand side here, we've got the approval comments, so we can view why this document was on hold or any other comments against the documents. So, post this document. Also, you've got an approval entry screen. I like this one. It's a Continia one that they've given, different to your approval entries that you get in normal BC. In this one, they've split it out a bit more, so you can see the header of the document across the top here, and then on the lines you've got it displayed across the bottom, so you can view a bit more easily what the document is. This is for people that perhaps are using the actual client themselves to approve. You get a nice picture of the document in full on the right hand side. So again, it's just a case of going through those, either rejecting them or approving them. And again, you can see all the lines and the document on the right hand side. You've got the navigate function, which I'm sure many of you would have used. And as I was saying, you have all your entries that you can navigate to. And then you've got a couple of extra for document capture document and document capture file. If I drop on these, so this opens it up in the document journal that we had, and you can see it was registered. So you can have that historical view of values that are in there. Perhaps for whatever reason, you may come across a post document that was changed from the creation in the document journal to the creation of the invoice. Because once it's created as a purchase invoice, it's just a normal purchase invoice. Then the user can change whatever they need to change. So you may get one that goes through and you think, oh, I don't remember it being that invoice date or that specific posting description, for example. And then you can always come back in to the document card to see how it was at that point in time. And you get the file as well. So I've just clicked on that. If I open it up, you get the PDF document. So you can see that the traceability, it doesn't just stop once you create a purchase invoice, it goes all the way through to your posted documents as well. So you can always go back to those. So that's doing it for a specific document itself. But you can also do this from your vendors. So you may want to see all documents that have been done for a vendor. If I just open up Cool Technologies, for example, you get this number of documents field here, and you can see they've added the documents fact box onto the right hand side. So again, you can access the PDFs from there, or you can view a list of the documents down using the show number of documents field. And the final thing, which is quite a good look, is if you use the document search, so you can search for any PDFs that have come through the system if you're looking for a specific one. If I do and press enter, then it comes through and it shows me all the documents that I've got related to that keyword or key term. Again, you can show the document card, show the file, and go into those. So again, it's another good way of just searching your documents for whatever reason. If you go through all and then the vendor disputes an invoice or whatever, or comes back to you a few months later and says, you've given us this invoice, but I noticed this about it, or something like that. You've got all that within your client still, so you don't have to root around and find the email that was sent 2 months ago. If you clear your emails down in your deleted box or whatever, you can always come back quickly into the system, search for the keyword or or go directly to the vendor if you know the vendor account, and find those historical documents. So that is it from a document capture point of view. A very quick demo. There are a lot of settings to it as well in the background, and those are the sort of things that go through in the training and the implementation to get it going. But hopefully it's given you an idea of how you can make your invoicing process a bit more efficient rather than users manually typing in invoices.